Alrighty, traders, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome to the FxBigDog show here as we go ahead and take a look at the markets this morning as we lead into the rate decision here in the US at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Traders, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please go ahead and do that. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click on the like button, share the video, do all that good stuff so we can get this video out to as many traders as possible. Traders, we're going to go ahead and take a look and see what's going on with the dollar crosses as we look at the dollar index. Let's go ahead and jump right into it as we go ahead and take a look at a couple of things here that we have to pay attention to as we heading into the news. And just by the way, that countdown news was just killing me. We got to change that. So I'll go ahead and get the team to go ahead and change out that music because that was brutal. All right, traders, well, let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going on this morning as we dive into what we can anticipate, what's going on. So let's go take a look and see. All right, 2 o'clock this afternoon. If we go take a look at the calendar this morning, we can see that we have the Fed's looking to raise the rates 25 basis points. The question here is that everyone has a question about, and that is, are they actually going to go through with it? Are they going to raise the rates 25 basis points? Or is this just a smoking screen and that they're going to keep the rates unchanged? We do know a couple of things right here. We do know that the new home sales are down. We just had the numbers out this morning. They came out at 697K from the projected 726. So new home sales are down. Inflation is down, right? And I mean, we're not so talking about just slightly down. Inflation took a big hit a couple of weeks ago that actually caused the US dollar to sell off quite strongly. So we've had low inflation numbers. And look, granted that the central banks, that was the whole plan. The whole plan was to get inflation down and controlled, and they want to get it down to that 2% mark. Well, the thing is this. If the inflation number comes down too fast, that's also a problem for the central banks. So they don't want inflation to drop down too fast. They want it gradually to come down to the mark, but they don't want it to be extremely fast because that is also a problem for the economy. All right. So which means that they're stuck in a very difficult spot where they have to make decisions, and therefore we come back down to today's decision. Today's decision is a 25 basis point hike. Well, that is what is forecast. The question is, does it happen? Now, traders, I don't want to pretend to be this economist and this forecaster as to know exactly what the fundamentals are going to do and how they're going to react this afternoon and what the decision is going to be. But what I can say is, when we go ahead and take a look at the technicals should be able to give us a fair idea of exactly what the market is doing. So let's go ahead and take a look and see something from technical perspective. If we look over here, we're at resistance. This is the dollar index daily time frame. So the market's trading at resistance here. And because we're trading at resistance, we want to see something bearish. Well, we don't have quite a evening star. The U-turn didn't go 60% of the U-turn, so we don't quite have an evening star being formed here. If I go ahead and take a look at my sentiment indicator, I still see that the market is bearish. So overall, dollar seems to be bearish, and this is just a correction move. And that means, traders, if that is the correction move, there's two things that can happen here. First, number one, if we take a look at the market swings right here, we do notice that we hit a 1.618. We came back to support right here, so which means that we should be heading further down south. All right, dollar should be selling off based on the swing. Now, even if it is just a short-term move, we could be expecting dollar just to go ahead and retrace back based on this bullish rally right here. So my 2 cents on the dollar would be that we're probably going to see a sell-off on the dollar. Now, let's go ahead and think about this a little bit. If that's the case, then what does that mean? Is it a raise? Is it unchanged? Well, if they raise the interest rate, that normally is a positive thing for the dollar. So even in the short term, it should be a rally, right? But if they hike the interest rate and the market's not expecting it or doesn't want it or doesn't feel like we need it right now, then there's a good chance that that could cause a weaker move. So it doesn't really matter really what they do with the interest rate. What we know is that whatever the news is going to be, it's not going to be positive for the dollar based on our technical setup. Now, traders, of course, this is speculation, and nothing I say is set in stone, but it is, of course, something we can verify. So we're looking at the US dollar, and we can see right here that the dollar index is expecting a sell-off. Well, let's go compare this to other currency pairs like US dollar CAD and take a look at US dollar CAD. If we take a look at US dollar CAD right here, well, we see that we're at a very, very tight spot right here. Very tight spot of support. And so if we look here, we go, well, based on this, we should be seeing dollar rally towards 3,300. Okay, so that didn't really confirm what we saw on the dollar index, because the dollar index says, no, we can get south. But this is saying, no, we're going to be bullish on the dollar. Interesting. Well, let's go ahead and dig into some more currency pairs. Let's take a look at the euro US dollar. But before I jump into that as well, I'm not saying that this daily candle right here could end up being bearish or below that area, and we could be heading south on this particular pair. It could certainly happen. And even if it happens intraday, it doesn't mean that we can't see the market drop back down here and then go back up again as an intraday bearish move based on the news that came out today. But let's go ahead and look at some other opportunities out here. And I'm going to go into Euro USD. Euro USD right here has come all the way back to the support. Now, we don't see anything bullish here. We see the oscillator in an overbought condition, and therefore we're anticipating that price could move down further. But it may not be until we get a little rally, because this could be a swing that could be developing right here. And we did come off this area of resistance that's now coming to become support. We also have this support right here that if we close out with a bullish candle, we absolutely will be going north on this. So what does that mean? It means dollar weakness if the euro is going to rally against the dollar. Wow, that is conflicting signals right here. We've seen the dollar index indicating bearish. We see dollar traded against the Canadian dollar looking to rally. And now we're looking at the euro rallying against the US dollar right here. Again, nothing I said right now is set in stone, because keep in mind, traders, that this candle or this pattern right here is not confirmed to be bullish. And because we're at support right here doesn't mean the market won't come back to retest it before the rally. And also, it doesn't mean that we won't sell off below that. So there's a lot of conflicting signals right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some other pairs. And let's go to the, I'd like to take a look at the JPY. I know, US dollar JPY, currency from hell, right? But what it also tells us is a lot with what's going to go down on the dollar. If I look over here, I'm seeing that we have the market creating this pattern right here. It's taking out the previous low. This is the high right here that's going to be what we call our left tip. This is going to be our right tip over here. And so we have a bearish crown. And therefore, we're expecting price to drop back down to take out the lows right here at around about 133.68. So this tells me dollar weakness. Traders, this is how it's going to play out. All right. If you are a trader that likes to swing trade, then you may end up waiting on the sideline until you get something confirmed. Whether it's bullish or bearish on the dollar doesn't really matter. What matters is what type of swing you have. Do you have a bullish swing, a bearish swing, and do you anticipate the market to bounce? So, for instance, if I was trading US dollar JPY, then I would be looking to sell US dollar JPY if I was a swing trader, and I'm expecting price to move down south. And so my entry point would be basically where it's at right now. My stop losses would be above the high. And keep it in mind, traders, this would be, of course, on a daily time frame. For those that don't trade larger time frames and would rather prefer to go down to something smaller, well, then, of course, you can go down to your 1 hour chart. Now, my 1 hour chart currently right now still shows it's bullish. In fact, we're trading above the 200 EMA, and we are currently right now not being confirmed bearish because we also have a little bounce. Take a look at the oscillator. So everything right now on the US dollar JPY tells me, based on the 1 hour time frame, to stand aside. You see, traders, not every time frame is going to give you the answer that you're looking for. Because remember, there's different types of trading strategies and there's different type of time frames that those strategies can be traded on. And very importantly, based on the different time frames, your stop losses will be placed at different places. So if you are looking for a opportunity for a midterm, long-term position, then daily time frame would be the option. Then you really wouldn't really care about what the news says, because any sort of whippy lashy movement today may not take you out of your stop loss if you're trading the daily time frame with stop losses above the daily high. But if you're trading a lower time frame, like a 1 hour time frame, you're going to be really certain about where you are in the swing. And when I say that, what I'm really referring to is, how are you identifying what the lower time frame is telling you? Well, if I look over here on the lower time frame, again, this doesn't tell me anything what's going to go down on the larger, but what it does tell me is, if I look at this structure right here, I'm looking at the market creating a 5-wave structure, which means that traders, that there is a good chance that price may want to go up a little bit, take out some highs, and then turn around and head back down south. And so what that means is that we may be in a let's call it an intraday rally on the news. And that tells me that they're probably going to raise the rates 25 basis point. And we're going to see a short-term rally in the dollar, but that's going to be short-lived as it turns around and heads back down south as the market goes ahead and sets up. So which means that if I want to trade the long-term outlook, which is bearish based on the crown pattern on the daily, then that means, traders, that I'm better off waiting for the market to come up a little higher, then look for an opportunity to go ahead and sell down. This would not be the place to do that. Now, we've still got a few hours before the market goes ahead, before we have the release of the rate decision, which means that, traders, we could still see price moving up higher to this level, which is about 70 pips. We could see price moving up another 70 pips before the close, well, not the close of the day, but before the announcement is announced. And of course, we're not done when the announcement is, because once the announcement is done, then we have the press conference, we have the statement, all of that good stuff that goes into the mix as well. Traders, it's going to be a whippy-lashy day. We just have to figure out how we want to trade it. Overall, I think the dollar is going to sell off. I think we may see some short-term rallies, and that might just be short-lived, but overall, I think the dollar is going to sell off. That means my best bet would be looking at the euro US dollar. The euro US dollar is set up with a nice bullish move. And if we look at the euro US dollar right here on the daily time frame, it says that, yeah, we should be looking to buy. The question here is it really on the lower time frame? Because that's the time frame that you're going to be trading. And if it isn't, then maybe you need to wait until it confirms. Here's my 1 hour. My 1 hour tells me a couple of things that's really interesting. Firstly, number one, we got a pivot point right here. The price is at 111.69. And at 111.69, that's significant because the market moves to these levels about 97% of the time, which means that, yes, there is a good chance that the price is going to rally up. Now the question is, what's it doing on the lower time frame? What type of structure do we have? Well, we certainly don't have any complete structure. Because if I look over here, I'm seeing possibly a wave 1, 2, 3, which means that this could be 1. There's 3 right here as the market goes up here. And therefore, if we are going to be bullish, we're going to have to stay above 110.38. And so we're looking for price to move back up to let's call it 111. All right, so 111 is where we see resistance. That is still not going to confirm that the market is bullish. Traders, I would be on the sideline in today's trading. There's nothing right now that's given us a short-term opportunity to get in, but we do have the long-term outlook. And because we have the long-term outlook, then what we need to do is we need to have the shorter time frame confirming that the turning points that we see on the larger time frame is indeed setting up and creating an opportunity for us to trade. Now, the question I know that a lot of you have, and that is, how is this news out in the U.S.? How's the news out in the U.S. going to affect the markets on other currency pairs? Specifically, I know that those that are following my trade ideas, are following the CAD Swiss, the Canadian Swiss. How would it affect us on the Canadian Swiss? Well, again, we have to break the chart down. Let's go to the Canadian Swiss right here, and let's take a look at the CAD Swiss as we dig deeper into this. So here we go. CAD Swiss, always go to the daily time frame first. First, number one, traders, we had the market in an oversold condition. Now, it doesn't always mean when it goes into an oversold, overbought, does the market U-turn at those levels? But it certainly is an indication that we're going to start looking for some signals. And so we have had the market U-turn right here. We had a nice little U-turn. In fact, I even got it confirmed by my momentum indicator. If you look down below right here, we also got a bullish confirmation right here to say that the momentum is bullish. And what that means is that we're getting daily closes closing out above previous highs, at least the last 3 major highs we had. And so that's a sign. So as we go into the lower time frame right here, let's look and see where we see the signs. Well, here we go. Even though it might be a little choppy, we did notice that the market did create this wave 1, 2, and then we went ahead and we looked at wave 3 all the way up here. But the honest truth is, the wave 3 was not really up here. The wave 3 was up here. And we had a failed fifth wave. And so what happened was, price is now chasing after our fourth wave low. So here we go. Wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, failed fifth wave, price sells off. And it takes out the previous wave 4. Market goes into an oversold condition right here, which means we've got some buying power. And so what has happened right here? We have closed out with a nice bullish morning star. Morning star. And with that morning star, we're anticipating price to continue. Now, is the 1 hour time frame bullish yet? No, it is not. It's not bullish yet, but it's certainly setting up. All right. And so what we've got to look for right now is this is the largest swing. This is how we're anticipating price to move now. And our next move is going to be up here at 66.88. We've got a long ways to go, but also we have something interesting. We have a weekly missed target right here. We got a pivot right here that's been missed. So that means that traders that we could push up a little higher to get to that area right there at about 67.15. So we're in for a nice little rally, at least in the midterm, towards 66.80 and 67.15. That's how we see it. So then you ask me now, Gary, how would the US dollar movement today affect other currency pairs? In this case right now, what we're probably going to see is we're going to see some movement around safe havens. Euro, US dollar, JPY, and Swiss franc, we're going to see some money flow. And that means that if the CAD Swiss does rally, that means money's flowing out of the Swiss and going into another safe haven currency pair. Could that be the dollar or could that be JPY? Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I don't like to predict those things. I like to see what the market does. And after the news, we'll have another conversation about what the market's really doing as we dig deeper into the charts. Traders, I hope this gives you a little bit more insight of what's going on this afternoon. Let's wait and see what the news brings us and how the markets react. And what we'll do after that, we'll take action based on those movements. So with that being said, traders, once again, love you guys. Appreciate everyone. Do me a great favor and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Share the video, and let's get some more videos like this out as soon as we can. So we'll get that done next week. With that being said, this is the FxBigDog signing off.